Hey, 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 Facebook family. I'm going to tag a couple of people. Time for. Give a little time for notification. Okay. Hey, how are you? I'm just waiting. I know it's the middle of the day, so I'm just waiting to get a few more people on so people actually asked me to notify them when I was going to do this message because I thought I was going to be able to do it a couple of days ago and on Monday, I think, when I did the post. Hey, G, thank you for joining. So, yeah, buckle up. This is going to be a kind of a rough message because it's right before Valentine's Day, but to me, that's the perfect timing. I have on my red for Valentine's Day tomorrow, so I'm a day early. So, anyway, for those of you that are new to me and those that aren't, I am Phoenix Love of a Healer's Haven, Holistic Health and Wellness Solutions. I work with purpose driven leaders to provide holistic healing solutions to help you achieve your wellness goals as well as work life balance. I am the helper to the healer and the healer to the helper. My whole platform and mission and passion and purpose is to help purpose driven leaders like yourself to be able to reveal, heal, and live on purpose. So, I have this message today. It was actually given to me about a day or two ago, but I'm preparing for an event that I have on Sunday. So, as entrepreneurs and leaders, our lives can be a little crazy. And so I'm just now getting to come on here and deliver this message. But I wanted to make sure I delivered it this week on purpose, which is, the focus is really around Valentine's Day, which is tomorrow. But I really wanted to have sort of a tough, tough love kind of conversation. The other side of love, it really isn't the other side of love. It's still love because everything that I do is with the premise of helping you to, as well as helping myself. Because anything I'm sharing with you is things that I've walked through, lived through, still healing through. It's all about healing. It's all about us having really strong and healthy relationships, not only with other people, but with ourselves and, of course, with the divine creator. So I am going to get right into it. Hey, thank you for joining, Natalie, because, like I said, it's going to be a strong message. So buckle up. So, as you saw the title, and for the purposes of, just whoever may see this, please share this video out. Even before I get started, share the video because this is a message. It's not just about Valentine's Day, it's just about life in general and just how we show up for ourselves and how we show up in our relationships. So it's going to be, like I said, a heavy hitter. So please share the video right at this moment, even before I get started. Hey, sis, thank you for joining. So the title, you saw the title, it said 3 reasons people treat you like. And for the purposes of this video because I don't want to have to keep saying the word, but we know what that little emoji stands for. So I'm going to say crap. I'll use the word crap, just so keep it at PG. So the first reason people, and let me just back up. The reason why I'm doing this particular message, it really came out of a number of conversations that I've been having with different people, with clients, family members, friends, and then a post that I actually put out there about access and about just how we interact with each other, okay, and what a healthy relationship, the premise of a healthy relationship, okay. So that's really what the sort of like the catalyst of me doing this message. So the first reason people can treat you like crap, or how it actually comes about, one, it has a lot to do with them, okay? So it's three reasons. The main reason, well, I won't even say the main reason, but the first reason is about the other person, okay? Which we don't have that much control, but we can manage it because it is about managing your interaction with other people as well. And this really boils down to what? Number one, crabs in a barrel. Okay, and we've heard this terminology. We've experienced it. We know how you sit here and taking a shot. We know how we can be with each other, right? Especially when we start talking about, people of color, marginalized communities, and a lot of that comes out of, conditioning. Some of it is conditioning, and some of it is basically how society, and I want to say this, society has put a lot of oppression and pressure on people of color. So therefore, it puts us in a position of pitting ourselves against each other. And we know this happens. So like I said, I'm going to keep it real and raw, okay? We know this happens, that it's really, it really comes out of social Darwinism. And we know that's all about survival of the fittest. And that's this whole society in general, not just people of color, all types of people from all over the world, right? But when we start bringing it down into more of a macro level, and we shrink it down to just certain communities and certain groups and certain ethnicities and racial identifications, then we know it starts to get more interesting, right? So if we think about that, the whole crabs in a barrel situation where we feel that we always have to compete with each other, so then you are going to sometimes bring out the worst in people, right? And we see this. We see this in our workplace. We see this in our families. We see this when we look around on social media, when we look at regular media. This is what happens, okay? I'm going to be better than you in some form or fashion. I'm better than you because of how I look. I'm better than you because I have more money. I'm better than you because fill in the blanks. And we know this is what happens because we have been on either the receiving end, and some of us has been the ones that's giving it. Okay? So it's this whole competitiveness that happens, and then there's a comparison that gets in there. And so then what happens? People's claws come out. And so you start to treat one another like crap. And because you're feeling a certain way about yourself, and maybe it's not a good feeling, and so then what do? There's a lot of projection involved. Okay? There's a lot of projection. A lot of times when we have our voids, we're not feeling good about ourselves, what do? We want to go dump it somewhere. So that's what we do with each other. And this is where some of the negative interactions come from. Because if I'm not feeling good, you not feeling good, what do we want to do with that? We want to unload it. We want to feel better about ourselves. How do people feel better about themselves in this really, I want to say unhealthy society that unfortunately that we have to live and navigate through? Is that I'm going to unload it on you. I'm going to make myself feel better about me by saying something negative about you, or about treating you in a way that's going to make you feel less about yourself. So a lot of it comes out of that whole social Darwinism ideology of, survival of the fittest. I'm going to get you before you get me. Okay? So, and this is the reality. This is what we live in, and we know we have experienced this in one place or another. So a lot of it is the conditioning. And like I said, once you bring it down to like people of color who historically have been oppressed and deal with all these different discriminations and racism and prejudice, then you bring it down and it's like, okay, I have to fight against this larger society and, you know, being discriminated against and being treated unfairly. So now I'm going to bring it back to my own people, and I have to show that I'm better in some way. So somebody has to be less than me. Somebody has to be inferior so that I'm superior, because these people that don't look like me, they already look down on me and make me feel inferior. So now I have to find somebody that I can feel superior to. So it becomes this sort of chain reaction that's very negative and it's very ugly. And this is where the crabs in the barrel come in. So I don't feel good about me. I'm down here, so I'm going to pull you down with me. I'm not going to allow you to get up out of this oppressive kind of like barrel of negativity that we're all kind of, you know, crawling around in as like a cesspool. Okay, so I said, listen, I put the disclaimer out, so anybody that just don't want to hear this right before Valentine's Day or any day, because remember, this is Black History Month as well. Black history is every day in my book. That's why I'm not really making a big hoopla about it, posted and all of that, because Black history is every day. But I thought this message was fitting for both, because it has a lot to do with, you know, love, relationships, and just, you know, when it comes down to Black people or African Americans, whatever you want to call it, but Black people, then, you know, it becomes a really big issue, because it's all about how we treat each other, because we are a reflection of each other. We are all connected. We are all knitted together. Okay? So this is out of love. It's just tough love. Okay? So that first one is all about the crabs in the barrel. You know, and we have to recognize our role in it, because again, we are all part of this society of, you know, this kind of this matrix that's going on, and we're a part of it. So what are you contributing to it? Are you making it a better situation, a better place, and trying to improve it, or are you part of the issue? And that all boils down to, one, how we see the world, our perspective about things, and then also how we show up. Okay, so which leads me to number two. Number two, why people treat us like crap, or ish, or whatever you want to call it, is it really has to do with no boundaries. Many times in our relationships, we allow people to treat us a certain way, and sometimes we're doing it unconsciously, because we're just thinking like, oh, I just want to be a good person. You know, I'm a good Christian, or I'm a good, you know, spiritual person. I'm very zen, and I'm all these different things, and I want to show up a certain way and just love on people. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's how I think, right? But I also learned the hard way that you have to have boundaries in place, because when you don't have boundaries in place, people are going to take advantage of you if you are a good person with a big heart and loving and kindness and all of these wonderful qualities that we all should aspire to, right? And have. But you have people, unfortunately, like I said, you know, prior with number three, with the crabs in the barrel, they don't feel good about themselves. They're not thinking on that level. They're thinking they're more of a taker. So as long as you have takers in this world, they're going to be looking for people like yourself that may be the givers. And then they're going to take advantage of that. Okay? So you have to be able, one, be intuitive about who are you giving all this wonderful kindness and loving, and your loving, you know, ways to. Who are you giving your energy to? Who are you pretty much giving your resources to? You have to be extremely mindful of that, and understanding that with all of your relationship, whether it's your romantic relationships, whether it's your family, your friends, certainly your work relationships, anything, there has to be boundaries in place. Many of us are on my page, and that's watching this, are helping professionals. So just like we set boundaries with our clients that we work with, we have to set boundaries in our personal relationships as well. Because just because someone is our friend or our family member, that does not mean that we can't have a boundary. We don't need a boundary there. In fact, most of the time, that's where we need the strongest boundaries. Because unfortunately, the more familiar someone is with you, the more they feel that they can kind of cross the line, asking you for things, whether it's money or it's information or whatever, and really your time, your energy. Okay, so that's where it really opens the door for people to treat you poorly the less you don't have boundaries in place. You're really teaching people and modeling almost how people are supposed to treat you just by how you treat yourself. If they see that you are just very, open and loosey goosey and, just kind of letting anything goes, and you're always trying to do some kind of people pleasing, because that's another telltale sign. When you are constantly putting yourself out there to try to please others, then 9 times out of 10, they are really, really, really going to start to take advantage, because they're going to say, okay, what's most important for this person is that they please and that they are appeasing me and they want to do the most for me. And it doesn't, and please understand, this doesn't mean that you stop being who you were created to be, that you stop being loving, you stop being giving, you stop being generous. No, you be who you are. But this just means that you have to put certain boundaries in place when it comes down to those relationships. Self-love is the greatest love besides the love that we have for the Creator. So when you put boundaries in place, that's indicative of the love you have for yourself. That shows just how much you are expressing love for yourself, because you are not allowing people just to come into your life and basically control it or dictate how that interaction and that exchange is going to be. Okay? So the second one was no boundaries. That's why people would treat you like crap, because you're basically attracting in more of that when you are showing that you don't have the boundaries in place. When you are basically exemplifying that, it's okay, and when someone may come and keep asking you for money, or they want to come keep getting free information from you, if you are a professional or entrepreneur, you have this wealth of intellectual property, and they keep saying, well, you know what, I just want to pick your brain. Can I come and pick your brain about this and that? You have to put those boundaries in place, because at the end of the day, you're showing and you're modeling exactly what how you want people to treat you. That relationship, again, the first relationship is with yourself. The first relationship, under the relationship with the divine creator, is with yourself, because that is the first example of a strong, a healthy relationship or not. And this is really what people are going to look at. How much does that person care about themselves? How do they show up? How do they even show up in their physical appearance, right? How are they carrying themselves? How are they conducting themselves when they're out in public? When they're in, public is even these social media airwaves. So it says a lot. It's communication to other people on how they're supposed to treat you. And if you keep saying, oh, okay, it's all right, I don't mind if you do that. Oh, I couldn't make it. They set dates with you. Okay, we're talking about Valentine's Day, even romance. Keep setting dates and canceling. And that could be friends and family as well. Oh, I can't make it, I'm sorry. Or they don't even show up. You go and you make plans and you show up to the place, the person don't even show up. And they do that habitually. And there's a pattern of that. That's communication. Because if every time they'd be like, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot, I didn't mean to do that, oh, forgive me, or whatever the case might be, and this keeps happening. That's communication. You're showing them that it's okay for them to stand you up. You're showing them that it's okay, that they don't have to pick up the phone and say, you know what, I'm not going to be able to make it, or I really can't come to that, that engagement, or whatever the case may be. Empty promises. Okay? So again, that's part of boundary setting, because you're not going to allow someone to treat you that way, because it's just disrespectful. So it's showing that respect for yourself, first and foremost. And we know this is going to happen. That's why I wanted to do it around Valentine's Day, because listen, we already know there's going to be disappointments. And that's the reality. But the disappointments can be parked as long as you stand in your power, in your seat of truth, in your seat of power, and knowing and respecting who you are as a person and not allowing people to treat you that way. So boundaries is a big one. The last one is what I did a post about, which is about too much access. And people were saying, well, what do you mean by that? I got a lot of questions around that. People inbox me. So I left that for last because to me they're all important, but this one is really important. So I want you to think about it this way. When we place value, and it's connected to, they all kind of build on each other. It's connected to boundaries as well, but let's take it a step further. When you are basically, giving random access, and I'll use social media as a perfect example of too much access. We're on, whether you're a business person or not, and you're on social media all the time. People see what you're posting, they see what you're eating, they see where you're going, they see what you're doing. You're just an open book. All of your information is out there, okay? So you are basically open 24/7. Everyone can see what's going on in your life, and there's a lot of sharing that goes on in social media where way too much personal stuff, right? And then when you think about it, if you say it's somebody that you really want to spend time with or you want to talk to more often, whether it's a friend, it's a family member, or someone you're romantically interested in, you're an open book. They can just go right on social media and say, hey, I know what, sister so-and-so is doing. They did this, 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 and this. And it's like, what do they need to call you for? What do they need to have a conversation with you about? They know everything just by clicking a button on social media. Right? They see everything you're doing. Why do they need to come and break bread with you? Why do they need to go out to lunch or dinner with you when you're an open book right there on social media? Right? So, and the reason why I'm saying this, and this is what I was talking about in this post, is the craziest thing. There are people right now, we do not communicate at all. But somebody I do communicate with, they'll say, oh yeah, the person I communicate, they was like, so-and-so told me they saw that you had went to, I'm just doing something in Atlanta and you was doing this and doing that. And I'm like, I don't even talk to that person. How do they know what I'm doing? But then I thought about it. I said, that's funny. I didn't even know that they were even on my page anymore because I don't hear from them. They don't like any of my stuff that I know of because, you can usually know when someone's, following you or they're involved or whatever because they'll like or love some of your stuff. Nothing. This is a person that don't even respond to anything. But guess what? They're watching. They're watching. They know everything that you're doing. Isn't that something? I call them the looky-loos. So the looky-loos are there. They have access to all of what you're doing, right, on social media. But they're not necessarily supporting you. They might actually be waiting for your demise because that's another thing. Sometimes people are watching because they just want to wait and see if you're going to fail. Let's see how far this is going to go. Is he really doing all that? Is he really, speaking this place and has a book and doing, this wonderful person, doing all these wonderful ministries and helping people? Is that real? And I've even seen some of my colleagues that are doing amazing things out here. They've been questioned. Like, are you really that happy? Are you really showing up and doing all of that stuff? Yes. But what difference does it make? But again, access. So these are people, and I'm not saying as business people, this is part of our business. We do what we have to do. But there's some people that are on social media personally and just putting way too much stuff out there. So you're a open book for anybody to have access to say whatever they want about your life. And then what it also says is that I don't need to connect with you outside of social media. We could just be Facebook friends or on Instagram, and I know everything you're doing. So why do I need to cultivate a real relationship outside of this with you? And it also, it says too, like, I don't really value that relationship like that. I'm not trying to connect with you outside of social media. I'm good. I know enough about you. So this is what I'm saying. We have to be very mindful of what we are communicating, what we are putting out there. right? And it can also mean, when I talk about access, go into offline. Like if you have relationships with people, whether it's your family member, it's a romantic relationship, and you are constantly putting yourself out there, you're always going the extra mile. That person know that they can call you and you will be there all the time at a drop of a dime, no matter what. But guess what? When you pick up the phone and you need that person, they're not there, or they're not there to support you. Or if you need something, you can't find them. But you're always accessible. Your phone, you'll pick up, you'll return a message, anything like that, right? And that relationship becomes very one-sided. There's no reciprocity. So healthy relationships are reciprocal. It goes both ways. Both people are invested in the relationship. Both people are invested in the time and the resources. They value the relationship. And how do you know that? You know that not just by their words, but by their actions. So that's why I started out with the social media example, because many of us, and I'm going to include myself in there, because I had to, cut off some relationships, because I realized, I said, wait a minute. You're a person, we used to spend the time together all the time. And now it's like, we don't talk and whatever, but you know everything I'm doing on social media and you're talking about, no. That's not an investment in a relationship. That's not a real relationship, okay? And I'm just talking about people that we know, relationships, friends, family, romantic relationships. That's what I'm talking about, because it needs to be balanced. It needs to be balanced. I want to read some of these comments because I see y'all writing stuff. So Tina said, this is true. It is tricky and requires discernment, right? I decide to influence perceptions of life, personal development, spirituality. Yet I have experienced my social media information being shared in a court case. Woo, what? Which I was like, what? How did this person get this information if they're not my friend on Facebook? Exactly. See, and this is what I'm saying. This is why I wanted to do this message. Thank you, Tina, because that's a prime example of how serious this is. Many of us are dealing with real life, real tough situations outside of social media in real life, right? But it becomes a blur. And then the more people have access to you, whether it's social media or even it's just offline in your personal life, the more they have access to you, and it's not a relationship that is mutually beneficial. Let me say that, where there's an investment. You don't know what these people are doing with your information. And some of you do, just like what Tina just shared. They're sharing your info. She don't even know how that got out there. And these are the things that happen. Yesenia said, I have to go through a major Facebook purge. Exactly. Because you have these people that are just on your page just to watch and see, and sometimes not wishing you well. Okay? Especially if you're not here. If you have no communication with them. These are people you know. You have no communication with them outside of Facebook or, social media. Right? But yet they know all your business. So this is where you got to also be mindful about what you're putting out there. Okay? And this is about self-love. This is about boundaries. This is about taking care of yourself. Because a lot of times, most of the time, our stress and all of these emotional challenges that we're having, it comes from these relationships. And what you don't want to be in is what I call a transactional relationship. I wrote about it in my book, If I Should Die Before I Wait. It's a whole chapter dedicated to transactional relationship. And these are exactly the relations I'm talking about, where you're not equally yoked with someone, okay? You are in these relationships where you're doing more of the giving than the receiving. And anytime you see a relationship like that, I don't care what the title is. I don't care if it's a family member, if it's a friend, if it's a spouse, if it's a boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. You have to monitor and really look at your relationships. Is business relationships? Is this thing mutually beneficial? Is this someone that's like-minded and like-spirited? Is this someone that is truly invested in the relationship and in you, in supporting you? Do they value the relationship? Do they value you? And that's really all about. People can tell you all day and all night that they support you, that they love you, that they like you, but the actions speak louder than words. It's all about the action and the energy that is put behind it. See, unfortunately, a lot of times, especially when we talk about this social media arena, we want to be entertained. You know, we're not looking, we need more meat. And a lot of times when we want to be entertained, we get just that. Whatever it is that you're looking for, you're going to get just that. And when you are just looking for people to entertain you and make you laugh and, oh, you know, this person is so wonderful and this and that, but are they? I mean, what are they really adding to your life? Are they helping you to move closer to your goals and to fulfill your purpose in life? Okay, and I'm not saying we don't have fun and enjoy each other's company, but it's not all about entertainment. And you have a lot of foolishness that's out here in these social media waves. And they are just telling you stuff and tickling your ears. And you, oh, that sounds wonderful. Oh. And then how has it helped you? That person may not be, 9 times out of 10, they're not invested in you and in anything that you're trying to do. See, we have gotten it twisted. This was one other post I put. We've gotten it twisted. We are out there supporting, following, getting angry, putting passion behind people, situations, things that have nothing to do with what, you know, really helping us, really improving your health, really improving who you are as a person, but it sounds good, or the person looks good, or they're entertaining, and we get caught up in that. So that's part of it too. That's part of that access, because you're just like mesmerized and like, oh, you know, and that's not all of you. Most of the people that's on here, you know, you are on purpose and you know what you're trying to do. But some of us get caught up in that. And it's like now is the time that we really have to get centered and focused on what's best for us. And investing in ourselves, investing in our health, investing in our future, our legacy, our children's future. Those are the things, right? Not just entertainment. Because it's very easy to get distracted in, you know, the social media world, but even with just media in the world, period, there's a lot of distractions out there. So those are really the 3 reasons. The crabs in the barrel, not having boundaries, and too much access. So I'm going to give you 2 quick bonuses and then I'm going to jump off. So just think about it this way. We could be our own worst enemy if we're not careful. We have to be mindful of what we give our energy to. We have the power within us to end the control over what gets our attention and what doesn't. We have that control. We have to take back our control most of the time because we have given too much of it away. So if you're just joining, I see people still coming on, please share this video. It's a tough message, but it's a timely message. You know, I've been putting some posts out there. People were responding to the post, and it's really, this message has come out of a number of conversations that I've been having with different people, with clients, you know, friends and stuff. And this is real. We have to practice self-love. We have to love on ourselves, because the more we love on ourselves, the more we attract more love into our life, and we attract the people that are going to love and value and respect us and respect those relationships. Because that's what it's about. It's the balance. See, self-control is strength. This is really about practicing self-control and understanding what's going to be edifying for us, what's going to build us up, right? Because we're constantly bombarded with messages. We're constantly being bombarded with all types of activity and information. And, you know, a lot of it are distractions to keep us off guard from what's really important for our lives and for our families' lives, right? So one thing I want to emphasize, really 2 things, is about having calmness and being in a state of calm. Because calmness is mastery. When we're able to be in a state of calmness and really calming your mind, it allows you to be investigative. When you are able to be investigative, you are able to discern what is right for your life and what's healthy for you and what's not. You learn to understand things about yourself. Be investigative about yourself. You are the best expert on you. And when you know and understand who you are and how you're wired, then you know exactly who are the people that need to be in your circle, what you want in your life, who you want in your life. Because what happens when we're not operating in a calm mindset and we're kind of all over the place, then our emotions can take over. When we're operating from a place of our emotions and let our emotions rule, that's how we get into these situations of being involved with people that may not be right for us or that are not valuing us because we're leading with our emotions. So, one of the things that I don't remember who it was. I think it was Sean Diddy Combs or somebody. But he said, emotions will have you broke. And I agree with that. Emotions will have you broke. Emotions will have you blind. Emotions will have you broken. Blind, broken, broke. We don't want none of that. We want to be wide awake, aware of what's going on with us, aware of our surroundings, aware of who is connected to us. And just like someone had said on here, I have to do some purging. But it's not just purging on social media. I just, again, gave that an example because we're in this space. This is how we connect with each other now, right? Social media is an integral part of our social life, right? And our business life for some of us. So, but even offline, look at your relationships. Really take the time to evaluate your relationship. If nothing else for Valentine's Day, sit down and really evaluate your relationships. Practice that self-love first. Rasha said, I've been purging. See, everybody's been purging, right? And we're in February, right? So the new year came. A lot of people said, I'm going to scrub my, social media list, my Facebook list. I'm going to look at my relationships. I'm going to make all these goals. Let's continue to do that. If you haven't done it, this is a good time to do it. Okay? So the last two tips that I wanted to give, that was one of them. You have to get to the point where your mood does not really fluctuate based on insignificant actions of others. Meaning that if somebody is treating you badly, if somebody's treating you like crap, okay, don't let that dictate, how you move. All that means is that that's communication, right? Even if it's rejection, that's communication for you to do something different. Meaning that if it's a pattern for this person, then they need to go, right? You need to sever the relationship. If it's a person that you can't just cut out of your life, then that means you got to put firm boundaries in place. Because sometimes we know it's our relatives. Listen, I'm no stranger to that. And we have to say, okay, I'm going to have to deal with this person a little differently. And that's okay. But the thing is to do it. Acknowledge it and do it. Maxine said, that's what happens to me. I get upset very quick. Yeah, we all do. Listen, we are living, yes, we're energy beings, yes, we're spiritual beings, but we are living out this human experience. We are human beings at the end of the day, too, right? We have this flesh, we have our carnality, we pray, we have our, spirituality, but it doesn't mean it's not going to raise up things in us when people treat us badly or poorly, okay? Okay, all right, Yesenia. So just keep that in mind, right? Because again, if you're always operating out of a place of self-love, then it makes it easier. Like, how is this making me feel? Is this something that's positive for me? Do I leave this person feeling good, or do I leave them feeling just terrible all the time? Are they habitually doing something that makes me feel bad about myself? And that, to me, once you start asking those questions, you'll get the answers that you need to make the decision. And then the last point is, don't allow emotions to overpower your intelligence. Reason why I say that, and I think I'm going to have to do I want to do a webinar on emotional intelligence because it's so important in everything that we do, right? When we have our emotions, our mind is not calm and we're stressed out and we're getting upset, like I think Maxine mentioned, we are not able to see things clearly. That's where the blindness comes in, right? And then we're not operating and thinking intelligently and making wise decisions, okay? So it's so important that we don't allow our emotions to overpower our intelligence. We really want to always be operating in a place of being intuitive and of course being logical and rational, because that there's a place for all of that, right? Sometimes, yeah, emotions is good and we need them, and it can be helpful, especially if you're in the helping profession and you have to practice empathy. But intelligence and logic and common sense needs to always be there, because if we're operating in that place and we're operating from a place of being calm and centered, right? There's strength in that, and there's mastery in that. And so, therefore, it's a more focused and well informed decision that we're making about that relationship or that person. Okay? So that's really it. That's the message. Like I said, it's a little rough, but it's a message that I know I needed to deliver this week, Valentine's week, because people experience all different types of things. A lot of heartache and pain that's around these holidays, and again, we sometimes are our own worst enemy because we know something or somebody's not right for us, but yet we stay in it. And we have to really start to challenge that and challenge ourselves and challenge our thinking on why we stay in these situations. Why are we doing that? Because we always do it. We're like, I don't know why I did that. I knew better, and you want to kick yourself. Why not be proactive? Why not even have to have that type of dialogue with yourself to make you feel even worse? Okay? So, a couple of things I want to say before I jump off. Please join this evening. If you haven't liked my Healers Haven business page, please do so. This is where I am doing the Healers Haven virtual panels, where I'm really having those tough taboo conversations with different guests. Tonight is all about race in the workplace, and it's really trying to heal and unpack the pain of dealing with racism and discrimination and harassment in the workplace, based off of racial situations. So that's what I'm going to be doing tonight, and that's going to be in the Healers Haven business page. So like the business page and you haven't done so. And again, if you need even more support, you can join my online community, which is Holistic Living for Purpose-Driven Leaders. And I will drop both of those links in the comment section. And like I said, just, continue to come on. And I thank you all for joining this message. Share it out, share it out, share it out, because someone really may need to hear it, because they, again, it's the love week. But love is every day. Black History Month is being celebrated. However, Black History is every day. But this was a message that I felt was really timely. And I'm seeing the comments coming. I'm gonna respond to all the comments. I see them coming up, but I didn't want to keep everybody too long because I know it's the middle of the day. But thank you again for joining. And again, like the Healers Haven business page, join my community, especially if you are a helping profession, because I'm doing a lot of webinars, and we do different challenges, and I'm always posting information and resources to support healers and helpers to be able to achieve your goals. So thank you again for joining. I am Phoenix Love of Healers Haven. Everyone have a wonderful and a blessed day. Peace.